Welcome to Millenia. Be ye entity of all the coils. Be ye man, woman, child. Be ye spirit, creature, demon. Be ye. I hope my headphone's not connected. Be ye man, woman, child, spirit, creature, demon. Be ye native, migrator, or invader. Welcome into the realm. I am your host, the Millennium Noman, and I'll be world building here long after you have begun to acclimate and fit in to the realm. I am your host on this lovely Storytime Saturday. You know that librarian Saturday, because I'm here to always start some shh. Now, the way Storytime Saturday generally goes is that I tell a story, and it's literally up to you all in the audience to decide whether or not that story is real or entirely fiction. Because you can have that comment, you can have that debate, discussion, and interaction down in the comments section down below. I will not be confirming or denying any of that in the video, because it's Storytime Saturday and it's up to you guys to try and figure that out. Real fiction, that is the engagement aspect of Storytime Saturday. I'm telling a story. I am a songwriter and I'm a storyteller. I write stories. Come on. Put it together. Work with me, please. Storytime Saturday, I'm telling you a story. You decide whether it's real or fiction. I'm not telling you whether or not it's true, at minimum until Millennium Monday, right? Until Monday, where we have that Q&A day. I'm not telling you whether it's real or not. That is up to you. Engage and try to get it right. Okay? That aside, today's Storytime Saturday will be real. You don't gotta question whether or not it's real or fiction today. So, yep, yeah. You don't gotta question whether today's is real or not, because I'm gonna tell you a story, and then the second half of the day is going to be me explaining some of the lyricism in tomorrow's song for Songbook Sunday. Okay? So, story time. Back in elementary school, I had this whole rivalry, vengeance that was more so one-sided, but it was definitely there. I had a target goal, and it was always me fighting for first place in any and everything, trying to be like the valedictorian in everything, in every class, in every grade, and at all times. Because education is really important to my family, especially with the involvement of my mom. She has every cassette tape and floppy disk to prove that she's never had anything less than an A in her entire life, despite her getting all the way up to bachelor's. She's never had anything less than an A for any grade ever. So it's really important, the education system that she instilled in all of her sons, like myself, right? So I picked a person to be going head and head against, and it was always me fighting my darndest to do the best I possibly could. Because I'm willing to tell you, I'm just a dumb man, okay? So I try my best for any good looking grade I had. And the person who I picked my moniker to be my nemesis as I strive for greatness and excellence was this person who did so easily, because they were smart. They were genuinely smart, a genius, if you will. And they just were excellent and seen as excellent without even trying. Such aggravating, right? So, my nemesis back in elementary school, she would, because it was a girl, and she would always one-up me no matter what it was. Sometimes we weren't even in the same class, but we had the same subjects. So they would always compare us and our names. Hey, you did really good this week, but you know who did better this year? They did. Oh my God. Oh, nemesis. It was really one-sided. Me and her didn't really interact too much, but we did know of each other a good amount. So there are two instances where I mentioned it to her, and she was like, oh, I never really noticed or knew that. I didn't even know. Yeah, because you were too busy being front page. Where the number one thing that cemented the rivalry aspect that I had with her was we had this writing assignment we had to do, and being the author lyricist I am, I did exceptionally well on it. I did so well. The local public library, not even the school recognized I did good, and they talked about it with people, and it got talked about so much that the local county library wanted to buy my book. They wanted to buy it and publish it and make copies of it to share to other people. And I'm like, oh my god, yes. And then a week later, some newsletter, the local news wanted to give me a whole column in the news about it. They wanted to give me a column. So I got an interview. They walked with me, had a camera and everything, and they walked with me. They gave an interview walking through the school halls of me explaining behind it. And I can't remember if it was the interview. No, it was I'm pretty sure it was a guidance counselor and whoever they brought in. They asked me if I wanted royalties on the book. And I'm like, no. My mom pays for everything. I got everything I possibly need. My mom's got me. I don't need money. Ridiculous. They took advantage of me. I knew nothing about what I was talking about. I knew nothing. But it was a very, very good book. It got good coverage and everything. Got published in the local library. You can find it there now. And they say it gets, to this day, it still gets checked out often. So to them, it was a good investment, and they don't have to pay me anything. Where I'm pretty sure like the royalty deal was every time someone checks it out, they would give me like 10 cents or something. And I'm like, no. And it's been checked out thousands of times. Any one of I think it was 15 copies they made, every one of them gets checked out hundreds of times in the year, thousands of times. Like, oh my gosh, it just made me so sad. I have no idea what I was talking about. No idea. None at all. And it's a shame. But hey, I was dumb youth. But anywho, so I did that, and the week after I get in the news interview and everything, they put me in the newspaper, and on that same newspaper, I am on page 3, column. The whole right side of the newspaper was this interview with what of old me, right? And there's a reference to go back to page 3 on page 5. So I was mentioned on 2 of the inner folds, and I had a sizable portion of that newspaper, right? My nemesis over here has front page headlines in the same newspaper. A big old picture. I just have words down. She's got a big old picture in the newspaper on the same paper that I get the article column on. Nemesis for a reason. True nemesis for a reason. Dirty work. It was dirty work. Unbelievable. Right? That is the number one thing I always reference, because it's truly diabolical the way things worked out there, right? But okay, cool. And then the second one that it's really a rather shame, was, and mind you, that was in elementary school. In elementary school, I got a whole column in the newspaper for writing so well on my essay that I had to submit as an assignment, that they published it when it got submitted for a competition, like a writer's competition. It won first place, and then got taken by the local library. all in elementary school. Fun. Published author by the age of 10 years old. 10-year-old published author. Who would have thunk? Right? Cool. Same day, she's on the front of a paper after I did interview after interview. She's also getting interviews, and she gets front page with a picture on this. It couldn't even be the next day's paper. It had to be on the same paper as me. That's so mean. Front page cheerleader, captain, name dropped and everything. So why did you do that? So mean. But yeah, that's number one. Number two was we were in middle school, and it was towards the end of the school year, but she ended up moving away. She got front page of the article in middle school. So she was moving away, and she was letting everyone know, and it's last period in the school day, and the teacher, last like 30 to 10 minutes of the class, and the teacher's like, hey, just to let you guys know, she is going to be moving many states away, and this will probably be the last time any of us ever see her. My immediate reaction, I wasn't thinking, I wasn't being moral or had any ethics in the moment. I was just thinking, yes! And no, I didn't just do it in my head. I did it full blown, out loud, in front of everyone. Everyone's now staring at me because unbelievable, can't believe you just did that. Yes! Finally, I can be number one. Finally, I can be number one. Because we was really close in the scoreboards of any and everything we had similar grades on. Every time we were always I can't even say neck and neck, because I legit never beat her once, right? Unless it was a pissing contest, then I might have been able to pee further than her because I'm a boy and she's a girl. But literally never beat her in any kind of competition, especially academically, right? But we were always close. If she wasn't there, I would have been number one. If we just get rid of her, I'm number one every time. So the most immediate reaction was like, I can finally be number one with her gone, right? And it was mean. It was terrible. It was terrible. But that's just the cold, hard, honest truth. So that's the Storytime Saturday share that I had for you. I was a terrible, terrible youth, but I had some pretty good grades because I know how to work this American school system. I can get that good grade. I will always get A's. That aside, for Songbook Sunday, the song I'll sing is called Over and Through. It's an original made by me, of course. I wrote it originally when I was 7 years old, and then I kept tweaking with it as life went on for 13 years, and I redid it back on April 20th of April, a few days after one of my brother's birthdays, and that's the last time I touched on it, right? But as a 7-year-old, I did the whole song, and then I just added more to it to kind of push with it for 13 years, right? Before I'm like, yeah, I think it's good enough and I'm not going to touch it no more. It took 13 years of me tinkering and touching on it every so often. I wasn't twinking with it every day, but like every few months I'd be like, I want to sing my original. And because this was the first song I ever like put pencil to paper on. And it was back when I was 7 years old, sitting in the kitchen as my mom's cooking food. And I'm eating a sandwich at the table. I'm eating a little sandwich at the table, watching my mom cook. Feet ain't touching the ground, so you know I'm swinging my legs back and forth. And I got a pen and paper. I'm writing, and then I got a little books, second grade reading level, second, third grade reading level books by my side. You know, the little books that are like 2.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Got that thick paper, like child safe paper, where you're not gonna get a paper cut or anything by flicking the pages around because they're like hard. I had those around me, and I had a little paper to practice my handwriting because mom wanted me to know cursive for some reason. I still hate it. Right? So, this is my first song. It's called Over and Through, made by a 7-year-old me with 13 years later revisions. And yeah, the chorus itself was pretty much just based on one of those little second, third grade reading level books that were tiny. Like, to me, it's tiny now, but to then, it was like my whole hand. The book was probably the size of my palm, like 2 inches by 2 inches by 2 inches, just about. And it was flipped. It had pictures of the forest, pictures of the ocean, rivers, creeks, what was a meadow, and animals you can find in the meadow and stuff like that. It was just like it was like a location picture book. And then I had another one that was like an animals picture book, right? And the chorus, Over and Through, came from the locations in the little picture book. Da-da-da-da. And then I have a few little references here. It was the references in each of the verses is literally just what I had around me and saw around me. Like a treehouse, I was jealous. There was this neighbor like across this road 2 streets down who I could see from one of the windows in the house. They had a tree house in their yard guarded by a fence, right? And I was like, I wasn't always jealous, but I always kind of wished I could be in the tree house, right? And then I had this neighbor after we lived there a few months. It was like a apartmental duplex or something, but we have lived in one spot, and then we got neighbors above us who had a daughter who I kind of had a crush on, kind of, and we would hang out and play sometimes. And we would always look over at the treehouse, like, oh, I wish we could play in a treehouse like that. So we ended up making like a bush fort. We made a fort out of a bush with a waterproof tarp, so nothing we put in the bush fort would get rained on and stuff. And we would just hang out there sometimes when we would play outside and get kicked outside for hours. Like, nope, go outside and play. Kick to the curb. Don't come back until you're dying of starvation and thirst. So we would literally just play in our little fort that we made because we didn't have a tree house. We would sometimes have a picnic out there as well. Tell you the original lyrics. Over and Through. The picture books, one of the picture books was describing like adjectives, verbs, and stuff, talking about over and through and under and around, or verbs or adjectives. Like it was explaining one of them. So I used that. I was using what I was reading in the little second and third grade level books in my song lyrics. Like, hey mom, I'm learning. I know how to use the words. You can buy me a different book, please. So that's kind of like the reference there of what got me started with the writing, because mom wanted me to prove while she was cooking that I was actually reading and knowing what the words mean. So I put it in a song, and I'm like, hey, these words make sense together. I'm using all of the words in the book. I'm using the meadows, I'm using hills, I'm using oceans, and I'm using over under through right. Over under, got the over under on this one every day, right? So I was literally using all the words in the books and the things I was seeing around me to try and to make the song cohesive, right? So yeah, that's pretty much all the backstory you may or may not even need when you hear the song tomorrow for Songbook Sunday, but that is genuinely pretty much it right there. It just, I made it when I was 7 years old. I really touched up on it and made its final finishing touches. Like, I'm not touching or changing this song ever again. 13 years later, when I was 20 years old, on the 20th of April. But for real, I like it. If you don't like it, just say so in the comments. Hurt my feelings, or at least try to hurt my feelings. I probably won't have hurt feelings by it, because this is literally like 13, 14 years of my life that made me happy. So you trying to hurt my feelings by saying my song is terrible, good luck. I made it when you're trying to judge me on a song I made when I was 7 years old. I'm not going to take offense to it. If you don't like it, like it. If you don't. That aside, that has been your Storytime Saturday. Hope you enjoyed those two tales I had to spin you and share with you about today. So if you agree with anything I have to say in the video, like the video. If you have any other thoughts, comments, questions, or concerns, put it down there in the comment section below and I will address it on a Monday. If you want to, for some reason, share anything I had to say, like the story time or the thing, just press the share button. By me. And of course, press the subscribe if you want me to publish my book, and press the bell button if for some odd reason you never want to miss any of the videos I'm posting every single day.